Hello and welcome to Elseworlds, a DC fan podcast. My name is Jordan, and we are doing our Batman villain draft today. So with me is Ron. We have Chris,
What's up?
our regular co-host, and then we also have Chris Evans joining us today. Chris, if you want to plug where people can find your show, and then we'll also plug it again at the end. But just to introduce yourself.
Sure. First, hi guys. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @ChrisEvans0, and you can find my shows there. I do a weekly live stream with my buddy Emmett Davis over at G of the Geeks. It's called Gathering of the Geeks. I also have a DC themed show called DC Unlimited with my friends Phil Walsh and Anthony Crusoe, and we really just talk anything DC over there.
Awesome. What is your? I'm just going to ask this. I usually like to ask this for people that I'm getting to, introduce to the podcast. But favorite, let's say favorite DC hero. I think I have the answer from your attire, but for the audio listener,
It is Batman. Yes,
okay.
Batman is my favorite.
And favorite. How about this? Favorite DC film.
DC film, Batman Begins.
Okay.
That might just kind of be cliche, but it is what it is.
Good one.
I'd say that one's not as cliche.
I don't think that's cliche at all. Yeah, I think that's quite the opposite. Yeah, that's a good pick.
All right. So we're Chris. Go ahead. Sorry, not Evans. Chris, if you can tell us what we're doing, how many picks, and then give us the order for the listeners.
All right. Well, if you have been listening to our drafts in the past, you kind of know the format, but we do a snake-style draft, 5 rounds, and today's topic is Batman rogues. Any villain that is a Batman-specific villain is fair play. You have 5 rounds, 5 picks for each of us, and there's really not much more to do than that. The only thing that I will say is we're not putting the Joker in here because I feel like the Joker is the obvious one for everybody. So we're just going to say no Joker, and that adds more of a fun first round because the first pick isn't a given, and then that doesn't sway. Because when we do these polls at the end of this and a few days later, everybody's going to say, oh, they got the Joker? Okay, they win. So
right.
That's it. Yeah, it's not a matter of just the first pick being a lock. It's a matter of whoever has first pick being a lock to win the draft. Because if you get the Joker, you're winning the draft, period.
Right. So let's just have some fun. Let's get in the heart of Gotham and see what happens. Ron, you have the first pick. You're on the clock, as they say.
Okay, we're just diving right in here. All right. So I'm going to keep it a little chalky. I'm going to go Harvey Dent.
I hate you.
I'm sorry, Chris. You knew it was coming. I told you it was coming, but I know it doesn't make it any less easier to kind of stomach. In terms of Batman villains who are synonymous with both Bruce and Batman, I feel like nobody fits that mold more than Harvey Dent. We've seen so many great iterations of the character in games, on screen, what have you. Animation, pretty much, very much kind of my favorite iteration of Two-Face is from Batman the Animated Series. So yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. What more do you have to say about Two-Face 1 overall?
Yeah, that's a great pick. Two-Face is obviously my favorite Batman villain. I think you all know that. Outside of Joker, he's the guy for me. I think he's synonymous with everything that is Gotham. The sickness inside, even when his face is healed, he hears the voices. I hate you, Ron. I love you, Ron, but I hate you. Pick number 2. I'm gonna go Bane. I'm gonna go Bane number 2. Bane to me is an underrated villain, and he's also the most room to grow villain in terms of popular culture. I think if you read Batman Nightfall, he had his big moment there. I don't love the Bane we got in Dark Knight Rises, but Bane is supposed to tower over Batman.
What could you possibly have as a problem with that character?
Yeah. My favorite thing about that character is the voice in Harley Quinn the Animated Series. That is the best thing we've gotten from The Dark Knight Rises. But Bane to me is supposed to be Batman's superior in every way. And he's supposed to be intellectually as sharp as Batman, physically as, and he's massive. I think you almost need to CGI it in a movie because he should tower over Batman. But Bane to me is just the all around thing. I get a bit of everything in that villain. So I thought about somebody else. I'm sure he's going to be gone by the time I come back, but Bane.
Probably.
Can I say I am stunned that was who you picked? Not because I think it's a bad pick. I think it's an awesome pick. He was going to be one of mine if he slipped to me. But that is not at all where I thought you were going to go. So
I'll say it, Ron. It's a bad pick. All right.
Wow.
Shots fired.
You went
It's a
for the
bad
throat
pick.
on that one.
I did not think that I was going to get the option between these two. So now I'm kind of
Hold
stuck.
on, wait. You don't get to just drop that bomb and then move on to your pick. Why do you think it's a bad pick?
I think he would have been. I think he would have been there later.
I
don't know what Chris is
9.
doing for the back-to-back, but like Bane's not on my like first 2 rounds. So for me, I'm like he would have been safe for you as long as the other Chris doesn't do it. But
so I had him 9th on my list, but I was going to take him on the next wraparound because I knew I wouldn't get him on the following wraparound, and he was one of those guys I just really wanted on my team.
I am a huge Bane fan. I love Nightfall, as massive of a story as it is, and I very much appreciated him in Arkham Origins. Honestly, the Arkham games, Bane was fantastic, and the Arkham games had a huge imprint on me as a Batman fan. But in comics in general, Bane is just always there, just this menacing villain that, like, I don't think any Batman villain scares Batman. Bane does. Joker mentally, but Bane on all levels scares the living daylights out of Batman.
I would argue there's one more on certain occasions, but we won't tip picks here.
all right, I guess it's my turn. I'm stuck between 2, but I'm gonna go with the one that I favor more, and that's gonna be Riddler. So I'm going for here. My other option was Mr. Freeze, but I'm going with Riddler instead.
Ooh, fair. Okay. You cut out on us a little bit there. I know it'll sound better when the show actually comes out. But...
There was some mystery there. I was like, who?
Yeah.
So
I guess if you're taking the riddle, I guess it makes sense to have a little bit of mystery to the pick.
My connection knew what it was doing when it cut out there. I'm going with Edward Nygma. I think that he is one of the more, like, how to say this? He's like a very classic villain. Like, he's been around since like the 40s, and he is very iconic in the sense of, if you see Riddler, you know he's Batman, one of Batman's foes, compared to some of the later villains that we're going to get to. So I feel like for the first round, I had to go with Riddler.
So I'm kind of curious, before Chris Evans makes his pick, I want to ask him, because we kind of talked about this privately, just the 3 of us in our chat when we were getting ready for this draft. Do you feel that there are, like, once you take Joker off the board, do you feel like there's a lot of separation between any of these villains? I feel like when it comes down to the voting on the board and stuff, like, I don't know, Batman's rogues are so much different than any other heroes, and that I feel like, and it's not to say that none of them stand out or anything like that, because they all do, but I feel like it's maybe just because they're all so good that I feel like there's this block of like 10 to 15 of them that are all interchangeable and all awesome, and like basically the poll is going to come down strictly to a matter of preference as opposed to their stature as a Batman villain.
Absolutely. I think that there's so many Batman villains that people even like. We don't get around to all of them in the comics anymore, or in animated series or movies, because there are so many that are good. And then, like, even the joke villains, like Condiment King and stuff, there's a place for them. Yes. Kite Man, there's places for these characters.
The James Gunn characters.
Exactly. They all work in some capacity. The Joker is kind of just like, the tip of the iceberg or the best villain, but that doesn't mean he's the only villain.
Yeah, I think there's, if you're gonna tier list them, you got your like S tiers, which are like your, I think, Freezes, Riddlers, Two-Face, you know.
Don't start tipping picks, but we know what
Yeah,
you're saying.
but then,
Yeah.
then you have like your lower tiers, right? And then you have your very low tiers, which are like the Clock King and the King Tut, right? You know, like those. But yeah, so I think there's like I'm on the Wikipedia, and there's like a list that says classic Rose gallery, and they're like all the more classic ones. And then after that, they have like a list of all these other like side ones that are not as popular.
I wonder if the classic ones are mostly due to the old 66 series. Like those are the ones people are familiar with.
Well, some of them include like Bane from the 90s, and some of them include like Harley Quinn and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good mix, actually. But they're like the ones you think about mainly when you think about Batman, I feel like. All right, Chris, your turn.
So one of my picks was taken. Well, actually, both of them were taken. So these are two backups. The first one is Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow.
You jerk! Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude.
I love the Scarecrow. He's one of my favorite villains. I think that Batman uses fear also, so it's cool that he has a fear-based villain that attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like Scarecrow is a villain who doesn't always get the respect he deserves. Sometimes he's treated like a throwaway character, but I love the Scarecrow. I think he's just great, and his design is really cool. I've liked pretty much every version of him except maybe the I don't know what the hell that was in the Tynan run with the gas mask and the wasn't my thing. But other than that, Scarecrow. So my second pick, I keep going back and forth on this one, but I'm gonna go with Raish because Raish is just, I think he's too big of a deal to ignore. And I do love the character, and he's responsible for some of the resurgence of Batman in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what Batman would have been today if we didn't have Raish back then. He's a huge deal. He's formidable. He's got Talia as his daughter, which we know is, that's kind of a big deal for Batman too.
Yeah.
I think those are two strong ones.
Oh man,
so, that was a great 1-2 punch, and they were the two guys I almost picked over Bane. So I'm like, God, like I Riddler. I was like, no, I have him further down. I mean, he's classic.
Riddler was my number 2.
Oh wow, he's classic. I'll give him that. By the way,
it just goes to kind of support that notion that like so I had Riddler further down my board personally, and like I'm sure it's all a matter of how you prefer the characters. As like I feel like with other superheroes, like there's a much clearer hierarchy in terms of like the villain's stature in comparison to that hero. You know what I mean? Like how much they mean to them in importance, and God, when I put myself on the spot, you can never think of it. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's such little separation, I feel, between these characters. Really quick, I won't go on a super long tangent. Everything that you said about Crane was almost word for word what I was going to say when I picked him on this wraparound here. He is, these guys know, he is my favorite Batman villain. I think we've got some pretty cool iterations of him so far. But to your point, by far the most underutilized and underappreciated Batman villain, I think. And Raish was 2 on my board. So I think that's the value of the draft right there. So you're kicking ass so far, man.
To be fair, Two-Face was my number 1.
Yeah.
So at least we agree there.
I wanted Two-Face very bad. But I almost took Scarecrow as a retaliation to Ron. But I'm sticking with the Bane idea there, but dude, you're killing it, Chris. Damn, Jordan, what you got?
So part of me thinks I should go Freeze because it's open, but I am going to go with a character that's not going to be there if I don't pick them now, and I'm going to have to go with Harley Quinn.
She
'cause
would not have been there. I can
yeah, I was
promise
gonna
you
say
that.
there's no way she comes back to me. So I'll go Harley Quinn. I grew up with the animated series. She was created in the animated series. I love the idea of an original character being able to come into comics, come into live action, and be as popular as she is. I always liked her more as a villain than as a anti-hero. So I know some people will be emailing in and saying Harley Quinn is not a villain, but at a time she was, and I'm going to pick her.
There are plenty of stories where she's a villain. It counts. It's kind of hard because she's almost part of the family at this point.
She was. I mean, she was a villain up until
mhm.
what? Suicides until Margot Robbie became her. Like she was like Joker's second in command. Right? Am I off base in that? Am I
They
misremembering?
There
they
was some
made her
comics
anti-hero
before that,
before.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they did. But
Yeah.
I think when Margot Robbie got the role for the movies, when you saw a big turn with the character.
Mm-hmm.
I like all Harley Quinn, hero or villain, but she wasn't really on my radar as much until the Harleen book. Have you guys read that?
So good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I have
Harleen was
not.
like,
I
oh,
know
that's
Chris
amazing.
wanted me to, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, hell, there you go. No,
I got
I
it
have
in
not.
my office. I just open it every now and then. It's so damn good.
No, that's awesome. That's a really cool cover too. I might have to check that out.
So if you get the hardcover, right? You get the hardcover. Behind the slipcase is this cover.
Oh,
So
damn, nice.
like
Cool.
that is like this book has the best art I've ever seen.
I was just gonna say that is awesome art. Hell yeah.
It's
If
like
I'm not mistaken,
realistic
it's
enough.
17 on Amazon.
Damn.
What was that, Chris?
I think it's 17 on Amazon for the hardcover right now.
Oh,
Wow.
that's it. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm about to buy that like literally right now. Then
I feel like I got it for 25 back in the day, but
whatever, man.
yeah,
that's
it's good.
It hovers around the price points.
Yeah.
But I love that book, and it's the best art I've ever seen in a comic book. It's like realistic, but it's also like comic booky at the same time. I don't know how he does it. It's perfect.
It looks like, by the way, it's like around 2009 she started being more of a anti-hero.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Was that the Jimmy? Is it Palmati? Is that his name? That run?
Yes, I have some of those. I'm not sure if that's the one that they're referring to, but they're saying that I'm just browsing Wikipedia right now, and they had like 2009 she joined the Gotham City Sirens. In the early 2000s she did have a book, but that got canceled, it says, and by 2003, and then she kind of had like not a lot of runs until 2009, it looks like. So
Okay.
I'm sure somebody knows better than I. So if you're out there and you're ready, you're drafting up the email already, let us know.
All right, Chris, you're up.
All right. And this is almost a painful place to be up because there's so many directions I could go. I'm looking at my board right now, and I'm going to
A
have.
lot of big names.
Yeah, there
the
is.
boards.
And I'm going to have to go with. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. I think you have a nice story here with Nora. You can go different directions. You can go, you know, he's kind of creepy for the whole Nora thing, or you can go this romantic. He's doing anything to keep her alive. He's not actually that bad of a guy. He's just doing what he has to do. I'd love there to be like a story where like he's forced to work with Batman or something. I think that would be pretty cool because you got two scientific minds there. I really like Mr. Freeze. I think there's a lot you can do with him, and that suit is cool. And the first time I played Arkham City, and he had that boss fight where he had to keep coming up with different ways because he would adapt to him, and like you couldn't sneak up on him twice, you couldn't come under the floor twice, you couldn't use the explosive twice. So that was really cool. One of my favorite scenes in a video game.
That was an awesome fight. One of the best fights
Mhm.
in all the Arkham games, period.
I actually got disappointed the last time I played it because I played too much for it to still be hard. But I love it. So Mr. Freeze has some of the coolest moments, and Heart of Ice might be the best Batman the Animated Series episode. Period.
Oh, yeah.
Can
oh,
we
yeah.
just say thank God for Batman the Animated Series as well, because that's what changed his whole origin story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that like the fact that they were able to do that and drastically change a character like that, and it's now like just the accepted canon version is
in a
amazing.
cartoon. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's a great pick, and I got to be honest with you, he's a character that I would love to see Matt Reeves get his hands on, just because
Yes.
he's such a like character that you wouldn't think would fit in that kind of universe, but he's not so hokey that like I think it would be a really cool challenge for Matt Reeves, and I think there would be an awesome way to go about that with a lot of depth behind it. It would be awesome. That's just kind of my little random side thought there. But all right, back to me here.
Yeah. You get two.
We got two. All right, I'm gonna go Ivy with my first one.
Darn.
What'd you say? Darn.
Yeah, I was hoping I'd get her, and then I would win the poll because you get both Harley and Poison Ivy.
That was what I was going for.
Yeah,
that'd be one more at that point.
That was exactly what I was going for. All right, so I couldn't. I had to kind of play the long game there and kind of play defense on you. So Poison Ivy, she's one of the last few here that I have in that first like elite tier, that kind of bunch that we were talking about. So I'm glad to have her as the kind of leading woman of my rogues gallery here. And with my second one, this is tough because I'm thinking with my heart here, but the pick that I want to make is not a good pick. It's a personal pick. So I'm going to hold off and pray that this gets back to me. I don't want to go any further than that. And I am going to go Penguin.
Darn.
Respectable.
I think you just won the draft. I mean, you
That was
got
my
Two-Face,
next.
Ivy, and Penguin.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, it's one of those things. I'm thinking iconic. That's what I wanted to go for with this draft. Like when I'm thinking again, when I'm thinking of Batman the animated series, because maybe it's just because that was like my first introduction as a kid to superheroes, period. So like that's just kind of always where my brain defaults back to with Batman. But I'm just like loved all three of these characters in the animated series. They've all aged incredibly with projects over the years. Penguin, we're getting this awesome series coming up on HBO Max that I'm super excited for. So yeah, I'm loving that 1, 2, 3 here, and hopefully my favorites get back to me at the end.
All right, Chris.
All right, so I'm gonna save one. See if he's back when or she's back when I come around.
Or are they back?
Yeah,
Is it
sure.
a group?
Sure. See when they're back when I come around. We'll just use that pronoun for now.
No. I was saying it could be a group. It could be a collective.
I got you.
Or gender too. Whatever.
Yeah. As the Joker would say, when it comes to my picks, I like it to be multiple choice. But I'm gonna go 8 on my board. Clayface.
Yep.
That's a good
I like Clayface. He could morph into any character. He I actually, speaking of the Arkham games, the Arkham City, fake Jokeroo, that dude, so good.
Amazing. Another all-time Arkham fight too.
Mm-hmm.
And you get dropped into the thing, and you got to electrocute him. Oh, it's great.
It's so freaking good. And Clayface has one of the better Batman the Animated Series episodes. He is a really good guy, like not a good guy, but like a really good villain in the comics. And you kind of feel sorry for him a lot of the times. Like he's a villain that elicits some sympathy, especially if you don't do the Master of Disguise, you do the fantastical look at what I've become kind of Clayface. I think you have a real winner that, on the villain board. He's nasty.
The version that was in the Batman, the animated series, that was really cool too. I think he might have been more sympathetic than the animated series version. He was a little darker, also, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love the pick. You're definitely going big on the heavies too. Bane, Clayface. You got some brute force on your team.
Yeah, but your team is almost kind of the team that I wanted, so it's funny how it works that way.
You know.
All right. Man, this is a tough one. I feel like this is tough. I am going to go with. It's like, do I take the layup or do I take something that's a little interesting? Right. That's my debate here. I'll go Catwoman.
Yeah. Can't leave her on the board any longer.
Yeah.
She's the last of the first tier.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go with Catwoman. I know again people are gonna come and say she's an anti-hero. To that I say she steals, so she's not. So there you go. She's listed on the Wikipedia as a villain, so fair game.
Oh no, yeah, no, we're not. Yeah, no, she absolutely plays. She's absolutely a top tier Batman villain.
If you can steal Bruce's heart, you can win the whole thing.
Batman's had so many instances like where he's been on the same sides of his villains for some reason or the other, whether it's been like Freeze for a one-off or Catwoman or even like Harley's and Ivy. Like I almost feel like more villains than not. Like there's been at least one kind of strange bedfellows team up in there at some point, whether it's been in a comic or in a cartoon or what have you.
A lot of that comes from the no-kill rule. A lot of that comes from the fact that he thinks they can be redeemed, and he's working on that. He's working towards that. You know, I know there's a lot of discourse on like Twitter. People go, "Oh, he's just a rich guy who likes to beat up criminals." But you know, this is a guy whose heart is as big as it gets, and he's trying to do everything he can to not give up on these people. And I think that gets overlooked. So that's one of the marks of a good Batman writer is if they get that point, then I'm kind of down for the ride.
Yep.
All right, Chris, another 1-2 punch here.
I don't know. Most of them were taken. So I'm not really a big fan of these types of villains, but this particular one does work for me. And it might purely be because of the design of him, but I'm going with Man-Bat.
All right.
I think Man-Bat is just kind of an interesting villain. I'm also a big fan like Universal Monsters and just monsters in general. So like you get the werewolf, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde aspect with him. So I'm a big fan of that. And he just looks cool, you know? And going to like what Chris was saying about the animated series influencing some of these picks, that episode on Leather Wings, which was the first episode that was shown.
First right off the bat.
Yeah, that kind of
no pun intended.
Right. And he's also had some great stuff in the games. I mean, like think of that bit from Arkham Knight when he just pops up.
That's my lasting memory of Man-Bat. Yes.
Yeah.
Jump scare central. I gotta say though, I think probably the funniest thing in the world is the hypothetical of being in the meeting when they were pitching Man-Bat. They're like, guys, we're running low on villains here. We got to think of something. What can we come up with to change the game for Batman? And there's like some dude in the corner just goes, Man-Bat? They're like, I love it. Let's go.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense in Batman's world, really. There's not many other characters that will transform into an animal, but he works, I think. And he's had a lot of, the Arkham Knight version. The Beware the Batman version was really different. He was kind of like Bela Lugosi. He was more like an anti-hero. And he was speaking. That was fun. And then even the recent Man-Bat run of comics, he was given more of a purpose. So Man-Bat's a pick for me. My other one, I just kind of have a soft spot for this guy, the Mad Hatter. I think he is.
Yeah, I was thinking him too.
Awesome pick.
I don't know if you guys have a language barrier on this one, so I'm just gonna say he's a creepy little guy.
Go for it in moderation.
Okay. Well, he's creepy, and I think you look at something like Haunted Night. his story in that, and it's just bizarre. And he's a villain I would love to see Matt Reeves tackle. I think
Yes.
a
Yes.
Mad Hatter in the Reeves world would be something very special. And depending how hard they go with it, it'll be something more like 7, which I think is his goal in the first one.
Right.
Mad Hatter is
Like
perfect
a
for Matt
psycho
Reeves.
kidnapper type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Alice in Wonderland sicko, icky. Yeah,
Fits
it works.
perfectly in Matt Reeves' universe.
So even if it's just like the opening villain or something, I think it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird that it worked too. Like it's another one. Like not to do this back to back on your picks, but like who was sitting there and they were like, all right, what should the next Batman villain be? And like they were like, I don't know, that Mad Hatter dude in Alice in Wonderland is pretty creepy. Should we just kind of like go with that? They're like, yeah, and it fucking worked. Sorry, Jordan, you got to mark it explicit now.
I gotta mark it explicit now. All right. There you go.
I
But
did
it
what I could.
worked.
I'm sorry.
But it worked and it was awesome. And I love the Mad Hatter and I love the pick.
Yeah, I was debating taking him before Catwoman, but I'm glad I didn't, in the sense of I feel like that would have left Catwoman right for the picking there. But yeah, he was definitely one of the ones I thought I could probably steal later in the draft. Oh man, right back to me again. And there's like one that I think is very clearly the one I should take, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna take Hugo Strange.
Nice.
That's who I thought you were referring to.
Really? No, the one I was thinking of is Killer
it.
Croc. But
No, don't say it. What the hell? We still got all these picks to go.
yeah, well, he's not going to be back for me. I've accepted that. So whoever takes him after that. But I felt like that's like when you're looking at one of the big ones. But I think Hugo Strange is just a more interesting character, and I would love to see him done right on film as well. Honestly, I know not a lot of people are fans of the show Gotham. I enjoyed it, and he was a good character on Gotham too. But I feel like that would be a character that can be like a supplemental villain. You know, he's not going to be like the main villain that headlines the film, but I think he can show up in a film.
I like it.
All right, on to Chris.
All right, so I'm going to go the Court of Owls. I'm going to go Court of Owls. If you wanted like a specific, like singular villain, I'll go Talon. Court of Owls. It's the Scott Snyder Greg Capullo run was so dang good, and it started out beautifully with the Court of Owls and the Night of Owls. It's just an unbelievable story. It's a villain that is iconic to Gotham or really perfect for Gotham because it's the underbelly. It's the wealthy people who really pull the strings. It's what Batman's fighting in the first place, and I think it's awesome. Plus, the Talon suit is really cool. I kind of wish we never saw it in Gotham Knights. Not that I watched it, but like I saw the stills.
Underrated game. I enjoyed it a whole.
I was talking about
He's talking about the hit CW show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My fault.
No,
I thought you were talking about
the game. The game I allow. The game I allow. The show. A little disappointed that they used such a big villain for that, but the Court of Owls is really awesome. I love it when the Court of Owls is like attacking Wayne Manor, and he has to drop the temperature down and get into the big like robotic bat suit. It's freaking awesome, and it's one of my favorite things. It's just so many awesome splash pages from that too. It's just love Greg Capullo's art. Court of Owls, classic. I want to see more. I think they had the Court of Owls as a villain in like Batman versus Robin, the animated movie. It was like the open for that. That was pretty cool. I want to see more Court of Owls. I think they're gaining popularity, but they're so story specific. I almost didn't take them, but Yeah.
I mean, dude, when you want to, we've referenced this with a few characters tonight, but you want to talk about something that is just handmade for the Matt Reeves universe? Are you kidding me? An underground society, like that's, dude. If he ever got his hands on them, it would be awesome, and I would love to see all the different mask designs they would have and everything. It would be sick. Court of Owls this late is a great value.
Was it Robert Pattinson who did the interview and said he wants Court of Owls for the next villain?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was him or Reeves, but I know they name dropped him.
Mm-hmm. Also, we got on the Gotham Knights thing, and I have to say it because I'd be remiss to not leave one podcast without a hot take. Of all of the Arkham games, that is my favorite Gotham. The Gotham in that game. The colors, it's so bright and vibrant, and they flesh out sort of the outskirts of Gotham. You get to go to the cemetery, and Arkham's all abandoned and creepy, and it feels so much more fleshed out, even if the graphics themselves may not be quite on par with the actual Arkham games. Just the layout and design is all I'm talking about here. I think it's the best and most fleshed out Gotham we've got.
I'm gonna go Arkham Origins for that.
I never completed Gotham Knights, so I don't recall how the Arkham, like how Gotham is in it.
Well, finish it. All right, so we're back to me here, right, for my last two?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, with my fourth pick, Solomon Grundy.
Classics.
I've always been a big horror guy, kind of playing off the picks that Chris was not our Chris, visiting Chris was mentioning before with some of his Man Bat, and always kind of loving that classic horror. I've always been a big undead kind of like zombie fan, so Solomon Grundy's a villain that I've always kind of loved. One that I think will probably be more fit for the DCU. I think he's a little probably too camp to try to implement into the Batman universe, but another one that really shined in the animated series, had a really awesome. I'm drawing a blank. It was Arkham Knight, right? Was the Grundy fight?
No, that was Arkham City in the museum.
City. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But still, awesome little segment there with Penguin. Just always loved Solomon Grundy. Kind of as another one that I thought could really be utilized more going forward in the future here, and it feels like a character that James Gunn would love to kind of work with. Very similar along the lines of Clayface to me. Maybe sort of that like reluctant, like hates that he is how he is, but he's still a brute anyway, sort of thing. So yeah, I won't rant too long on Solomon Grundy here. With my last pick, this is the one that I was talking about last round when I was like I could go with my heart, but I think we'll get back to me. Yep. I'm taking Jason Todd, Red Hood.
That's a good one.
That's a solid.
While there may not be tons and tons and tons of comics and all this stuff out there that show him and Batman kind of duking it out as opposed to some of the other villains on this list, the few stories we've gotten, the death in the family, the lead up to that, then we get Under the Red Hood, like I just feel like that whole arc is so like impactful. It's easily one of the biggest Batman stories of all time, in my opinion. I don't even think it's an opinion thing. It's pretty much a fact. And I know that Arkham Knight kind of got some mixed reviews on how they handled Jason. I thought it was an interesting kind of take. I'll be honest with you. The first time I played through it, I was genuinely surprised when he took the Knight mask off and it was him and he had the J on the side of his face. I was like, what? I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was really cool. And the way it kind of, again, in the end, he always ends up coming back to the Bat family. But I love Jason Todd. Love to round my draft out with him. And I'm very happy with this list right now.
The value of Red Hood at the end is crazy. I honestly not a huge Jason Todd fan, but as Red Hood,
Boo.
let me finish. As Red Hood, I kind of like it. I don't
Hmm.
necessarily like Red Hood with the Bat Family. I like Red Hood as a villain, more than anything when it comes to Jason Todd. He's my least favorite Robin.
He's got some cool like solo stuff too. There was like a 6-issue sort of thing. I'm kind of drawing a blank with what exactly it is. I'm not going to butcher it, but there was a 6-issue miniseries that's come out sometime in the last few years that I read recently when I was kind of doing some DC catch up because I was very heavy Marvel the last few years with comics and kind of faded away from DC. But that was one of the first sort of little things I picked up because it was easily digestible. And it was a really fun little kind of solo Jason Todd Red Hood story. So it's a character that's got a lot of room to grow going forward. And yeah, glad to have him.
Nice. I did like him in Three Jokers.
Hmm.
That's a
That was a
great
weird
version.
little twist. Well, maybe that's why I liked him because he wasn't as Jason Toddy as usual.
Yeah.
Toddy.
All
All
right,
right,
Chris.
Chris.
Your
Final
last
pick.
All right, I have to live down
Toddy, yada,
saying
yada,
Toddy.
yada, 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 yada. Sorry.
Yeah, I have to live down saying Toddy, but oh well. I am going to go with. I don't want to do it because it's so story specific, just like my last one. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going Hush.
Knew it.
I like Ron knows how much I like that story, how much that book means to me, and how much I just love the concept of Hush. Tommy Elliott, spoiled little brat. He wants the ironic thing is he wants everything that traumatized Bruce, and it's I love the way they handled it in Jeff Loeb's story. I you know and when you got Jim Lee drawing for you, wow, it's just great book. I think there's a character you can do a lot more with. They actually played around with him on Batwoman, and that was
Mhm.
interesting. That was one of the highlights of that show. I want to see more Hush. So my last two villains are characters that I think you can do more with that are more modern, like more recent, but I think you can do more. I really, really just dig the whole vibe that is Hush as a villain.
It's some people would look at it as a knock, like the Jason Todds, the Court of Owls, the Hushes, where it's like I almost feel like it's more of a testament to them, where they're known rather than this longevity and having these decades and decades going back to Adam West of appearing on screen with Batman. It's like these are just really cool, really interesting villains that are known for their arc. And what more did you like really need from? Or I shouldn't say what more do you really need because it's not like they were all just one and dones. But like, if you can not be that sort of regular villain, but still have these story arcs that stand the test of time and that people still talk about today as the best Batman stories, I think that's a testament to how great of a villain any of those choices are.
I dig it.
Man, that's I feel like I'm left with quite a conundrum here. Because there's now I'm like there's three that I can take, and then there was one that I want to take, but I think I might just save that for honorable mentions.
Well, you said you wanted Croc before. If he fell back into your lap here.
I know, but I actually don't want him. I felt like I had to take him.
I think that's how everybody's with Croc, though. They don't want him, but if he's
Yeah.
there, all right.
So I wrote this name down to see how it looks with the rest of my team, and I think I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with Black Mask.
Nice.
It was between Firefly, Killer Croc, and Black Mask for me right now, and then my secret one that I'll mention later. But yeah,
Dig it.
No, you can't go wrong, man. He was the top of my honorable mention list.
okay.
just because I love like the like the villains in Batman, like the Falcons and stuff, where it's not it's not some big freaking brute injecting himself with venom, or it's
Yeah, like
not
Bane.
this dude who fell into a I'm saying, or a dude who fell into a vat of chemicals and became a clown. It's like, no, this is something that's more like rooted in reality and that could actually take place. And to kind of like, he's essentially a mobster with a really cool mask. So,
I would
sign
love
me
to
up.
see him fight Red Skull. Black Mask versus Red Skull. Let's do it.
And
That'd be a cool
Skeletor
matchup.
does a run in at the end.
Ooh,
That'd be fun.
that's a good time.
Hell yeah. All
All right, Chris, last
Evans.
pick, Mr. Irrelevant, coming up here.
My pick was Black Mask.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, because I feel
Sorry.
like every good Batman villain team needs a mobster of some kind. So you got Penguin, Two-Face occasionally, or you got Black Mask. And I happen to love Black Mask. So now I'm kind of left reeling here. But I'm going to go with Deathstroke.
Deathstroke,
nice.
okay.
Nice.
So we're counting him, right?
Yeah, we count Deathstroke.
We can.
I mean, like people could press and be like, "Oh, he's a Titans villain," but he's fought Batman enough. He is absolutely a Batman.
He has the
They've
best
never
Arkham
readjusted.
Origins boss fight.
That's what I was going to say. Arkham Origins Deathstroke is what I go. That's what I think of when I think Deathstroke. I don't think of like him and Arrow or fighting the Titans or something like that. I go Origins.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cool character. I know he's basically just a Deadpool ripoff, but if you're going to rip something, why not Deadpool?
Every comic character is just a ripoff of somebody else.
Exactly. So I'm cool with it. But yeah, I'm going to go with Deathstroke. I have an honorable mention that I was going to go with instead, but I think that that character is just a one-time thing, so it wouldn't be right to use him. So
yeah, you could fire it off if you want. That's you were the last pick, so.
Oh, okay. So, how many honorable mentions do I get?
How many?
No, we just throw them out. Just fire them out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't actually count. They're just people we want to mention. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the one I was gonna go with for the final pick was actually Dracula, because he did fight him with Red Rain.
Okay.
But I figured it's such an obscure thing for. I was like, that probably shouldn't count. The other one was Gaggy, because I think Gaggy is hilarious.
I just wanted to say too, Deadpool was actually the ripoff of Deathstroke, so it was the reverse.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Deadpool came out
Even
10 years later.
I picked the original.
Yes, there you go, the OG.
Yeah.
Well, one of my honorable mentions, the one I was thinking about picking this whole time was, and I don't know if I was going to be allowed to do this, but I was going to say Holiday from The Long Halloween. Because I just, I wanted some representation of The Long Halloween, since that's my favorite Batman story. But
I think we would have allowed it, but I don't think it would have played.
You could have done the Calendar Man. The Calendar Man must not be
I was thinking
forgotten.
that too. I was thinking that too, actually. That's an honorable mention. And then, like I named before, Firefly, Killer Croc are some honorable mentions.
The only two that I had left that weren't drafted were Deadshot and Victor Zsasz.
Yes, those are up there as well.
Those are great.
They're listed in that classic category, actually.
So, Victor Zsasz was 29th on my list. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the honorable mention of Killer Moth and Lady Shiva. So I think those are some interesting ones, and the ventriloquist and Professor Pig as well.
Oh, the ventriloquist! Yeah, that's a great one. Oh, I love the ventriloquist.
Yep, and Professor Pig, like you said, that's a good pick. Like a good, if people wanted to do that, that's valid. Clock King, like we mentioned.
Yep.
KG Beast, Kite Man.
Now we're scraping.
Rat Catcher.
To be fair, KJ Beast is on my board. He is 34 on my board. Okay.
Hold on. You have wait. You have 34?
I have 50, with Red Claw being the 50th person on my board.
Holy moly.
I came prepared.
prepared if we were going like 10 picks deep.
I didn't know how deep cuts were going to go with this. You know, as Batman, there's 80 years of story.
I salute
Yeah.
the deep cut of Red Claw, though.
I'm here. I'm here for
I
that.
like it.
Do you guys, because me and Jordan and our Chris were kind of chatting about this, about how we were interested to see how our lists differed. Do you guys want to rattle off just the top 5 that you had like ranked on your list really quick?
Sure. You want to lead us off, Ron?
Yeah, sure. So I had Two-Face 1. I had Raish 2. I had wow, excuse me. Sorry, excited. I was deleting as I went along, so I'm trying to go back here. I had Harley 3. I had Poison Ivy 4, and I had Penguin 5.
Nice.
Who's your top 5 on the board? Yeah, what's your board look like? Top 5.
All right, so I had Two-Face number 1. I actually had Scarecrow number 2, but I chose Bane anyway because Scarecrow's my favorite, but I think Bane. Yeah. So I had Two-Face, Scarecrow, Bane, Mr. Freeze, and Hush as my top 5. But those are my favorites, so it's like I thought I was gonna get Hush late, and I did.
So you got 3 of your top 5 then, right?
Yeah, I did. So I didn't get
there
Two-Face, and I'm a little angry about it.
Also, I totally misspoke just before we go forward because I had Harley and Poison Ivy in my head. What I meant to say was Two-Face, Scarecrow, Ivy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had Harley at 13.
Harley was not on my top 5.
And I had Poison Ivy at 8.
I didn't have a top 5, but I would tell you what my team I would like to have drafted. I like having Riddler, Harley. I have those 2. I would have loved to have Mr. Freeze. I would have loved to have Ivy, and I would love to have Two-Face. But yeah, that's probably my top 5.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
That's an iconic line.
Among many of Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie.
He was not the problem in that movie. In fact, I would argue he's the only one who understood the assignment.
Oh, big time! I and I've said this while we've talked on the Elseworlds podcast before, but I love those Schumacher movies so much, dude. They're so great.
I like the first one. I'm
like
not
Forever.
a big on Batman Robin.
So Batman and Robin, I was a little kid. I'm leaving the theater as a kid, super excited. My entire family is like, "What the fuck did we just watch?" But I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And to be fair, I've watched it back, and I don't understand what I liked about it as a kid. But I feel like it's a perfect movie for kids.
For kids, yeah.
It's great. It's very much like Adam West was. Anybody can enjoy that. It's tearing your brain off fun.
I feel like
I'll
it's
tell
a
you this
spiritual
much,
sequel
man.
to it, to Adam West.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much, man. There is a home video somewhere in this attic of me dancing around my living room singing Kiss from a Rose by Seal. And it is because of those Batman movies. And I would love to find it sometime and post it on socials because it's hilarious. Of course, I was 24 at the time, but we'll leave that.
I have that song on my Batman and my Batman music playlist. So.
Oh, it's great, dude.
Yeah,
come on, you kidding me? That nothing brings you back to the 90s like some Seal.
Right.
All right, so Jordan, you want to kind of rattle us off on our teams here and then take us home?
Okay, so Ron's team: Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Penguin, Solomon Grundy, Red Hood, Jason Todd. Chris S's team: Bane, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Court of Owls, and Hush. My team, the team that you should vote for: Riddler, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Hugo Strange, and Black Mask. And Chris E's team: Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul, Man-Bat, Mad Hatter, and Deathstroke.
Some nice teams there, boys.
That was some fun.
Yeah.
It was. It was one of the more fun drafts that I've had in the middle of it, just because I had literally no clue where any of you guys were going to go. Kind of similar to the last draft we had with Tommy, because there was just so many options out there. And not really knowing how we were each going to stack everybody up. Like, it felt a lot more cookie cutter in the first kind of few drafts we did, just us three. But now that we're kind of really getting into the nitty gritty and kind of separating it's getting a lot more fun. So this is a great time. And Chris, thank you so much for coming on with us, dude. It was a blast.
Thank you guys for having me. Anytime we get to ramble about Batman, I'm happy. So.
Yeah, you're a guy I talk to on Twitter a lot, and I've listened to your shows, and I've wanted to get into podcasting for a long time, and I'm really glad to be doing it. But you're one of the good role models I had, so I appreciate you coming on. It actually means an awful lot to me, man.
Oh, thank you. I don't even know how to respond to that, but thank you. I appreciate it.
He's not BSing you either. He has said that to us personally.
Yes, yeah.
There are a handful of people that I was like, damn, I kind of want to do that. And it's like, I was listening to you. And it's funny with Gathering of the Geeks, it's like one of those things where I don't listen to every episode, but I randomly go through, okay, what am I going to listen to? And then it's like, oh, yeah, this. And it works really well. And it's really awesome. And I really like DC Unlimited, too.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, keep it up, man.
Yeah, Chris, do you want to share share your handles again if you can?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter if that's your thing at thatchris70. You can follow the weekly show I do with my buddy Emmett Davis called Gathering of the Geeks at G of the Geeks. And the DC show I do is called DC Unlimited Pod on Twitter.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening and watching along. You can send us your feedback at the show notes below the video and also the show notes on the podcast. I think later this month, we're going to keep Villains Month rolling. Chris, I got an idea I'm going to send you for that. But other than that, have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you next time.